What is up, my Bodyweight Warriors, and welcome back to another episode of Bodyweight Basics, episode 23 now? 24? I don't know. As my MacBook broke this morning, there's no actual work that I can do, so I thought best way to spend today is to make some handstand canes. Let me fill you in on the plan. So here's the plan. What we're going to need is one large piece of wood, and that's going to be cut into two medium-ish size lengths, one long length, and then two handstand blocks. The rest can be whatever. Handstand blocks should be 150 by 105 by 65. These are the handstand blocks that I own. As we don't need to worry about clearance for the fingers on the floor, these don't need to be 65, but the rough size should be the same. We need 4 scaffolding, much like the ones on my homemade coffee dripper stand, and then we're going to use this to attach to the base and this to attach the block at the top. We're then going to need some scaffolding tube to connect the two. Basic idea of how to build the base is we're going to have those two medium-sized slots, the longer one on top. We're then going to screw in those scaffolding tubes to secure it all together. Scaffolding poles go in. Then we have the exact same on the top, but connecting to the block. So we're going to screw the scaffolding top into the top block, and then they all connect onto a tube. And that's basically the plan.
Meanwhile.
So now you know what we're looking for. We need a very specific size piece of timber. So I'm just going to hunt one out now. That's what we'll do. Right, so we got the wood. 96mm, it's close enough. Now we're going to see if the nice guy will saw it for us. Right, so we got the wood. We've got some sandpaper just so we don't cut ourselves when it's finished. Got some screws, which probably have at home, but I just wanted to make sure they were the exact size so we can make sure it's nice and tight and doesn't fall apart and kill myself. The main reason I got a sword there was because I only got a handsaw at home. Probably just won't end well. The only thing I couldn't get was scaffolding. Apparently there's a shop just down the road that does that, so I'm going to try and pick some up and then we can put it all together. Right, so I've come into a little bit of a situation here, which is I can't find scaffolding tubing anywhere. I just looked online, you can buy it online. It's like quite an expensive delivery fee, it's like 10 quid. If you are gonna make this, which I think it's gonna be fun, I think it's gonna work, I would suggest buying online beforehand, but because it's a bit impromptu, and I wanna do a day, I'm gonna drive like another 5 miles down the road, grab some tubing, and then we can go home and make it. Oh yeah. Right. How you doing? Good. Thank you. Right, so I couldn't actually find any on the day that I filmed this originally, which was 2 days ago on Tuesday. So I did order some online, and I'll put the link to the place I ordered it in the UK down below. And basically I got 4 of these, what they're called wall flanges. So basically 2 places where I can connect that pole to. And then I've bought basically some scaffolding tube, and I've got them to cut it to, I think, 300mm, it might be 400mm. No, 400mm. So that's how tall I went. If I want to change the height of the canes, it's very simple. Just buy some more tubing, get it cut to a different height. You can have one that big, one that big. Anyway. What I have done since I last spoke to you is basically sat in the evening and I sanded down these pieces of wood just so they wouldn't be as kind of aggressive on the edges, because when you get them cut raw, they're kind of sharp. And especially for blocks, so that you're going to have your hands on, you want to make sure they're relatively smooth so it's comfortable to hold, comfortable to grip. But everything is kind of cut into place, everything is sanded. I've basically just got to screw this bad boy together and pray that it's not going to break and I end up falling on my face. So, got the drill, got some screws. These are the ones I bought. They fit perfectly into these. They're pretty hefty wood screws because obviously they've got to be taking some pressure. They go great through 2 pieces of wood, so I can make sure you can join the 2. The only issue is I forgot that on where I need to connect blocks for the hands, it's a little bit too big, so that's going to be going straight into my hand if I drill these through. So I'm going to have to go back down to the shop and buy some of these screws, but just for this size. So yeah, it means another trip to the shop.
Please insert your card in.
So we now have basically everything we're going to need to making this. The reason I'm laying out like this is because I am going to turn it into a blog post that will be on a blog at some point in like the next week or 2 from this video going live. It won't be available straight away. but it'll be available soon. I'll link it down in the description down below when it is live. Next thing to do is basically mark everything up and make sure it fits and it's all lined up, and then we can kind of start drilling away. On second thoughts, I've realised that these are actually quite wide apart. I don't think 60 centimeters is that bad, but what I might do is do the hand blocks first and then put them in, see how they feel, and then try and find how wide my hands want to go, and from there I'll drill them into the base. I think I'm going to start these off by hand first to make sure they go in straight. So first blocks are done. Actually feels pretty solid, I'm quite surprised. Pleasantly surprised. We now need to find out where this width needs to be. Looking at this now, thinking about having my hands on, this feels way too far away. If you look at me now, this actually feels, I thought this is about where my handstand placement feels good, but I think probably when I'm actually up there, I'm gonna wanna come in probably just a little bit. That feels like a nice place. The main issue is once this is drilled, can't really be changed. Before I drill these bits, I'm just going to make sure everything's in place with some double-sided sticky tape. So this is exactly where it needs to be on the base point, and then that way when I start drilling and screwing, nothing's going to move around and kind of ruin the final bit of it. Before I put this bit in, I'm actually going to put 2 screws underneath just to make sure this bit's secure, that bit's secure, because this has now moved a little bit over, so I've got less screws securing the 2. So just to make sure it's double solid, because I just don't want to be face planting and breaking my stuff. You know what it is. This one goes out to my people. Yeah, listen. I am what I am today, because I did it my way. Nothing y'all can say in this life. So basically, this is done now. This side, we've just got this side to fiddle with. We've got small screw because if we put a big screw in here, it would just stick all the way through. 2 big screws, big screw there, and then there's 2 big screws basically here on the underside. That feels to me pretty solid. So there is the final part. We've got both the actual main base, and I've got it sat on a mat here because I'm on like a paved thing and it's a little bit uneven, so I get a little bit of wobble otherwise. Got the actual block that we're going to be standing on, and then we've got the piece of scaffolding in between. Now I do realise that actual handstand canes, the piece of cane is like really small, and it fits into this special slot that basically wiggles around. Those cost like £200. They're really expensive, so I've just gone, this is 42.4mm scaffolding basically. It's not the biggest scaffolding, but it's big enough to withstand some force. And now we need to just screw it all in and just pray that it's not going to break. So all I've done, as you can see here and here, I've just added basically some folded up paper, and this means that now there's not much of a wobble at all. I'm actually really impressed in how these have turned out. Much better than I thought they were going to go. But that being said, there's only one thing left to do. Whew. I think it's time for the big boy stuff. Actually feel like a good distance. So all in all, those canes feel pretty amazing. As I said, I'm very pleasantly surprised by that. There's a few kind of little issues with it. Maybe it's a slightly wider, but it's comfortable, so it's good for like handstand push-up or press work. It's not super narrow. For those who don't know, canes do make hand balancing easier because it kind of extends the length of your hand and basically means that you can kind of catch stuff that you wouldn't be able to catch if you were on the floor, which is the most unforgiving However, today, as it is Thursday, I was planning on doing this on Tuesday, and I had like a handstand session and an upper body session, so I was going to do like a whole handstand session on the canes, film it, make it look amazing, you know, it's kind of what I had in my head. Today I'm supposed to be resting, I'm a little bit sore, at least some sort of montage on the canes. Anyway, so there you have it. That is my homemade handstand canes. I brought them back in here, otherwise I'd just be tempted to go out and play on them, and I'm trying to rest up my shoulder, let it recover, so doing too much too frequently just seems to screw with that. As I said, I'm pretty impressed with myself with these ones. They came out much better than I thought. If you do want to give them a go, I am going to make this into a blog post. I'm going to give like what I did, but what I did is by no means the only way to do it, and you'll want to make some adjustments based on your like body size, how far you like the canes in, how high you like them, etc. But I will link a blog post down below when I get around to doing it, so come back here in a week's time, it'll probably be there. All in all, it ended up costing me £10 for the wood, £15 for the scaffolding parts, about £5 for screws, so £30 for the raw materials. We're gonna add on £10 of postage, and then whatever else I spent fuel driving around to pick these things up. And then all in all, it probably has taken me about 4 hours. That's kind of what it took. This has been a really fun project. I really enjoyed making this. This is what I did kind of at university, so it was good fun. If you also enjoyed this video, if you're gonna give them a try, if you have any comments, why not leave a comment down below, join the conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. It's a little bit different. You can also just hit that thumbs up button if you want and support the channel. Right next to it is the subscribe button as well, just in case you haven't joined the Bodyweight Warrior tribe yet. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.